Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. My name is Wahyu Kurniawan from Class B. In this session, I will present you about my review article for course English Natural Science. Identity of the article. The title is Improving Critical Thinking Skill of Junior High School Students Through Science Process Skills Based Learning. Journal from Journal of Research in Science Education. Author is Diego Pradana, Muhammad Nur, and Nati Suprapto. Year is 2020, volume is 6, issue is 2, page is 166 until 172 to E if you need to access. So, table of contents, 1 introduction, 2 methods, 3 result and discussion, 4 conclusion. First, introduction. Science learning is an instruction that aims to direct students in developing epistemological understanding of science, knowledge, and the nature of science. Science is essentially not only as a mastery of concept of understanding nature. Science is more a set of processes that used to build, expand, and improve knowledge. The science of learning process emphasizes providing the direct learning experience so that students actively construct understanding of natural phenomena, concepts, and principles of science through the development of science process skills. Science process skills are special skills to simplify the way of learning science and instill students scientific skills. Science process skills defined as the adaptation of the skill that used by scientists for composing knowledge, thinking of problems, and making conclusions. The development of science process skill is closely related to student competencies in achieving learning goals. The implementation of science process skill-based learning design is expected to lead students to develop the skill needed in the 21st century to investigate nature, solve problems, and make decisions. One of the 21st century skills is the critical thinking skill. Critical thinking is a skill or process that enables students to gain new knowledge through the process of problem solving and collaborating. Critical thinking skills focus more on learning process rather than just the acquisition of knowledge and involve activities such as interpreting, analyzing, evaluating, concluding, explaining the result of this thinking and how to make decisions and apply new knowledge. Critical thinking skill is considered important in the learning process because it provides opportunities for students to learn through discovery. Students are required to critical thinking skill in order to solve problems in daily life, become reflective practitioners, and make decisions based on available evidence. Students who have critical thinking skills are expected to be able to understand and participate in solving various problems in life and technology in accordance with the means of the times. The critical thinking skill of Indonesian students can be categorized to below based on the result of study on the program for international student assessment (ISA) in 2015 showed that the achievement of Indonesian students in the dimension of scientific processes or skills, concepts, and content, context, or application in the field of science is ranked at 64 from 65 countries. Learning in schools mostly only makes students focus on mastering the concept of science regardless of the process of discovery and its relevance and application in daily life. Science process skill-based learning by using exact syntax are developed in 1. Identification of ideas. Content the teacher asks questions or issues. 2. In collaboration. The teacher engages students in study group in order to solve a problem or task together to produce a product. 3. Authentic investigation is science process skills. The teacher writes and does the analysis, interpretation, and inference based on data from group investigation. 4. Class discussion and presentation. The teacher gives students a chance to interpret and relate to the data results of the group investigation through the discussion. The syntax is especially The syntax is specifically designed to practice the science process skills to improve critical thinking skills. During scientific activities, science process skills are very closely related to students' cognitive domains such as critical thinking skills, and problem-solving skills. It is important to do further research to the critical thinking skill of junior high school students through science process skill-based learning. The case is expected to provide a meaningful learning experience for students, especially on the aspect of critical thinking skills. Next method, this study aims to investigate impact to science process skill-based learning on critical thinking skills of junior high school students. Subjects are 8th grade students of Renal Junior High School 1 that were selected by purposes random sampling. The instrument of treatment is syllabus, learning implementation plan, and student worksheets and student teaching book. Measuring instruments are the spreadsheet of learning reliability, the writing test of science process skills, and test of critical thinking skill. Data collection is done by observation of the implementation of learning model, the test posters of science process skills, and critical thinking ability. The implementation value of learning is adjusted to the criteria in table 1 below. The table 1 shows measuring that by means of science process skills tests and critical thinking skill test was analyzed by using inferential statistics for one-tailed t-test and linear regression. Next, result in discussion. Description of learning implementation. The average result of observations of the implementation of the learning process in this class shown in table 2. Table 2 shows that the average score of learning accomplishment reached 3.66 are included in the very effective category. Description of the student science process skill. The assessment of science process skill use 6 SCI questions that are adjusted to each indicator. Science process skills indicator are selected from a number of basic process skills and integrate process skills that enable the improvement of critical thinking skills. Table 3 shows that the average level science process skills of students after treatment were higher for each indicator. The data shows that there is an increase in student science process skill after treatment. Description of student critical thinking skill. The assessment of critical thinking skill use 3 essay questions that are adjusted to each indicator. Indicators of critical thinking ability are selected from several indicators development which adjust to the higher level of cognitive and thinking ability level of junior high school students. Table 4 shows that the average level skills of the students after the treatment were higher for each indicator. The data showed that there was an increase of students' critical thinking skill after treatment. Inferential analysis of science process skills and critical thinking skills. Analysis of the results of science process skills and critical thinking skills were statistically analyzed using t-test. Table 5 shows that the significance value in the t-test of the science process skills is 0, less than 0.05, and the critical thinking skills is 0, less than 0.05. Based on the significance value, it can be concluded after the treatment test results of science process skill and critical thinking skill were significantly higher than before treatment. Analysis of the relationship between science process skills and critical thinking skill is performed using linear regression. Table 6 shows that there is a relationship between critical thinking skills and science process skills. The results show that the even score of science process skill change. It can be estimated that score of critical thinking skills also change at 0.043 in the same direction. Based on the result, it is also known that the value of signification is 0, less than 0.05, so it can be concluded that the science process skills significantly influence the critical thinking skills. Finally, conclusions. Based on the result of analysis and discussion showed that implementation of science process skills based learning was effective to improve the critical thinking skills of junior high school students. This resulted in the relationship between science process skills and critical thinking skills. In other words, critical thinking skills can be developed through the science process skills based learning. Reviewers' point of view, advantage. Science process skill-based learning can improve students' critical thinking skills because collaborative learning emphasizes the importance of student relationship with author in developing critical thinking so that students have the opportunity to discuss, take responsibility, argue or interpret, and become critical thinkers in solving problems in daily life. This advantage in science process skill-based learning, an environment that is conducive to the development of students' critical thinking skills is needed. However, in the practice, as we know that generally students often make noise when they find something they have just seen, so the teacher must have extra patience to be able to condition students' opinion. I agree with the science process skill-based learning to improve students' critical thinking skills because every student has the conceptions and skills to build their knowledge in order to solve real problems. Okay, this is the end of my presentation. Thanks for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.